Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name's Teresa and I'm the Car Boot Crafter, and I'm coming on today because I'm making some little Easter treat bags for the grandchildren. So all you need is a piece of A4 card, not too thick though, and it can be any colour you want. I'm using white today just because it's what I had to hand. So all you're going to do is fold it in half like that, and we're going to do a little bit of weaving. So to get that done, what you want to do is grab your ruler. There is a bit of measuring, but not an awful lot. Grab your ruler and just make a mark at 5 inches from the crease. So there's my crease, measure up 5 inches there, and we'll do the same on this side. So there we go. And I'm going to I'll do it a bit harder than I would normally, just so that you can see. So, and then I'm just going to join that line up. Let's get that measured properly. There we go. I'm just going to join it up. Normally I would do it as lightly as I can, but I want you to be able to see. So now we've got our line, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ruler again, and I'm going to measure at 3/4 of an inch intervals. But it's okay because I've already worked out what those 3/4 of an inch intervals are that I need. I've gone all the way up to 6, but I'm going to use that later on, so I'll show you later what I mean. So I'm just going to put my ruler along my line, and with this ruler my 3/4 inches or 1/4 inch marks are at the bottom, so I'm having to do it this way round. So I'm going to measure at 3/4 and make a little mark, then go to 1.5 and make a mark, then 2 1/4 at 3. That's not quite right. Let me bring that down a little bit more so I can make my marks better. At 3 3/3, at 4.5, at 5 1/4, at 6, and I'm going to have to keep going. So 6 and then 6 1/4, 6 3/4, and then at 7.5. Let me write that down here. So it's 6 3/4 and then 7.5, and that takes you all the way across there. Then I'm going to come to the bottom, so this is where my crease is, like that, and I'm going to do the same again all along the bottom of my paper. So again, 3/4, 1.5, 2 1/4, 3 3/3, 4.5, 5 1/4, 6 3/4, and then 7.5. So I've made all my marks along that line and along the bottom, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to join them up so that we get lines going all the way down like that. But I'm not going to go beyond my piece that goes across like that. So let's do the rest. I'm going all the way across like that. You don't have to do, you can skip this bit if you've got a good eye, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. So it was that one, and last one. So I've got all my lines drawn all the way down, and I'm going to grab my scissors. Now this is what I mean, if you've got a good eye and a long pair of scissors, you don't need those lines. You can start here and head to that dot at the top, but I always draw the lines on. Now before we start, almost forgot, what I find easiest when making these is to pin the top. just to pinch it like that, because otherwise sometimes it'll twist a little bit. So I'm just going to pin it down with whatever you've got to hand, like that, just so as it holds it straight. I have done it a couple of times where the bottom has gone on the wonk and it looks very odd. So, and all you're going to do is cut through that line all the way up to that top mark there. Oops, not so easy with that there. Let's move that down a little bit like that, and then I can move it back right to the top line, move that back out the way, and you're going to keep going all the way across. Now this isn't an original idea, although I have done it a few times. It is something I saw quite a while ago on Instagram. They didn't show you how to make it. They just sort of showed you bits of how to make it. So they showed you about cutting it like this and then weaving paper between it, but they didn't give you any measurements or the size of the paper or the card or anything like that. So this is what I've been doing for a while to make them, and I think I get a better result than the one I saw on Instagram. But there we go. So they're all the way to the top. Keep going, and what you want to do as well is grab yourself some either heavy paper or thin card in a contrasting colour to whatever your base card is. So this base card's white, so anything will go with this one. I did want to do lots of yellows, but the grandchildren, the girls anyway, they do like their pinks, so I've had to do these in pink for the girls, and I think the boys will be okay with the yellow. I don't think they'll mind too much, and I'm going to put some little Easter treats in here for them. So just keep going until you've cut all the way up, and then once you've done that, you can either grab a rubber, grab a rubber and rub out all of these lines. Just be very, very careful when you do, because you don't want to rip the paper card. So I can take all of those off now. We don't need those. And what you end up with is a piece of A4 paper that looks like this. So a bit like we used to make lanterns when we were at school. Do you remember? Only we've gone the other way. We've gone the long way instead of the short way. So I'm not going to bother rubbing those out, because instead I'm going to make that the inside. So I'm going to just fold my paper back on itself, and those creases I've already got, I'm just creasing them the other way. So grab my bone folder and just flatten those down a bit. So you've got yourself some contrasting paper that you're going to use to weave, and what you're going to do is you're going to cut them in 3/4 of an inch widths. And the way I've done it is I've used the same numbers as I've used on here. So I've cut a piece that's 7.5 inches, and then I've followed these. So 7.5, 6 3/4, 6, 5.5, and gone all the way through with my paper. You'll need 5 or 6, depends on how close you want to do your weave, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. But you'll also need 2 pieces of the contrasting paper that are 1.5 inches wide. So before we get on to doing the weaving, what you want to do with these is fold them in half and glue them, because these are going to be our handles. So you can score them and fold them if you want to. I'm just doing this for quickness. So fold them in half, flatten them down, or reinforce that score, and grab some glue and put it along here. This is going to be your handle, and it's doubled over because, well, you could use pattern paper if you wanted and have the pattern on the outside, or if like me you're using plain paper, the reason we're doubling it over is because it reinforces the handle and makes it a bit stronger. So once you've glued it, get your bone folder and just give it a bit of a curl like that. Just makes it easy later. And then pop that to one side. I'll do my other one while I'm here. Pop that to one side so it can be drying while you're doing the next stage. It's just so much easier if this is dry, and I always do it now because then I don't have to wait. Simple as that. So fold this one in half as well. Grab my bone folder and let's flatten that all down. Grab my glue, or you double-sided tape if you prefer, and that way you don't have to wait for it to dry. Don't use too much, otherwise you will be waiting quite a time for it to dry. And it depends how good your weaving skills are, because that's the next thing we're going to do. So I've flattened that one down. Let's move those out the way. Flatten that one down, and then using my bone folder, I'm just going to give it a bit of a curl on it like that. Okay, so let's have a look at the weaving. And don't worry, I'm not going to do the full bag of weaving. I'm just going to start you off. So what you're going to do is grab one of your 3/4 of an inch strips, and they're the same width as your paper, so there's no wastage. And all you're going to do is, and it doesn't matter which way you start, you're just going to weave it up and down through your card like that. And once you've got it all the way through, you're going to pull it up as high as you can on here like that. And then when you've done that, you're going to grab your next strip and you're going to weave it the other way. So if it's on the top here, it's got to go under. So we start and we'll weave this way, going all the way through like that. You end up getting a nice little rhythm going, and it's a bit fiddly when you first start, or if like me you haven't done it for a while, but after a while you do get your rhythm back with it. And what you're going to do with this one, again, pull it up as high as you can. Now if you're only using 5 strips, I let 6 for each side, so each half. So there's my half there, so I want 12 strips altogether, 6 on this side and 6 on that side. But you can do 5 and leave a little bit of a gap in between. What I suggest you do, and what I always do anyway, is weave it through. Don't glue anything down, because we are going to glue things down in a minute, but don't glue anything down at the moment, and see how you get on with it. It might be that you prefer a lesser packed or a not so tight weave, so you might have a little bit of a gap like that. So let me keep going and I can show you what I mean. So this is number 4. So just pushing it through, and use your other finger underneath to sort of manipulate and push up the ones underneath. Just helps, and like I say, you get a nice rhythm going with it. Sometimes they get a little bit fiddly, but you know, it's not that difficult. I'm sure most of us did weaving at school. I certainly did at my school, lots of weaving and what have you, usually with paper, not so much with bits of material, but certainly with paper. So, and then if you're going with 5, this will be your last one. So let me just show you what that looks like. Nearly there. Last one. There we go. And what you'll do now is you'll have a look. So if you want to go with 5, and that would be 5, you're just going to make sure that these are nice and even all the way through. And then once you've done that, you're going to get your glue, lift up just the edges and put a little bit of glue there and glue that down. I'm going to go with 6. I just prefer 6 anyway. So what I do is when I get to 5, I then start making sure I've pulled all of them up as much as I can. And as you can see, look, I've got still a bit of a distance to bring these up and give me a bit more room at the bottom to do my last piece of weaving. Bring these ones up as well, like that. And as you can see, I've still got plenty of room at the bottom there. Just even those out, and then let's grab my last one and carry on weaving. So that one's on top, so I'll start this one underneath and bring it all the way through like that. And you, like say, you just find your own way of doing it, your own rhythm, or you can take your time. I took my time with the first couple of bags that I did last year, I think it was, and just had a play with it really and come up with my measurements and what have you. So once you've got your last one in, whether it's the 6th one or whether it's the 5th one, you're going to manipulate it so that it's above the crease line, so I can crease it without the pink being caught up in the crease. And once you're happy about where it is, and the front, the outside is more important than the inside, what you're going to do is, I'm going to move that up a little bit more, I think, actually, away from that crease line. There we go. Then get your glue and just fold these back. Don't fold, move it back, and you're just going to put a little bit of glue there, and that then will hold your strip in place. Come to this side, do the same with the other end, lay it down and keep going. So as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3 on both sides, so we're going to do these 3, and then we're going to flip it over and do the inside, which will be the others. So these ones, which we haven't done yet, if I flip it over, are these ones here. So again, just a little bob of glue. We don't need to glue all the way around the ends, just enough to hold it in place. Pull that one over ever so slightly because it's overlapping the edge of the bag. There we go. And then come down this side and do the same. And then once you've done that, I grab my bone folder and just make sure they're all, you know me, I like to make sure that I'm pushing the glue into the paper. So once you've done that, that's the front of our bag done. We're going to do the same up this end. So you can start at the bottom, you can start at the top, whichever works for you. And I need to go over and under and keep going, and just do the whole lot until, let me pop that to one side because I'm going to finish that off later, until you've done the whole of your paper. So I will tell you, the last one, I start at the bottom and work my way to the top. The last one is very fiddly, but once you've done that and you're happy with where your papers are, you're going to again grab your glue and do exactly like we did on the other piece and glue them down like that. That one, and flip it over and do the inside one as well, like that. Nearly done. That one more, and then we're done. And that's all our weaving done on our Easter bag. So nearly there, not much left to do now, and then we'll be ready to decorate. So once you've done and you're happy with the way that your weaving's gone, you can then get your glue or double-sided tape, entirely up to you. And what you're going to do, so there's my crease there, look, I'm just going to run a bit of glue all the way down one side of my little purse, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm only going to the middle bit, don't need to go all the way up, and just run yourself a good line, not too wide, and go all the way to the top of the bag, of the purse. So I'm going to come back down again, so not too wide, I've only gone less than 1/4 inch in with the glue, and then I'm going to fold it over and use my bone folder to push that glue in to the bag like that. Now my paper is slightly shorter than the white paper, the pink is slightly shorter than the white, so if that bothers you, you can just trim the edges ever so slightly, either before or after you've glued, like that. So but it doesn't bother me, and it's a one and done project anyway, really. So I'm going to leave that for a second and come back to my handles that hopefully are dry now, and I'm just going to curl them a little bit more now. I'm using the edge of the desk to give them a really good curl like that, and the same with this one. Now I'm going to bring my bag back and I'm going to measure, so we know I want the handles to sit 2 inches apart, so I want to come in just over 3, so I'm going to 3 1/8, 3 1/8, and I'm making a mark, and I'm going to go to 5 1/8 and make a mark there as well. Only need to do it on one side, don't worry about the other. So once we've done that, we're going to take our bag, our handles, sorry, and we're going to glue them in place there. Now, entirely up to you if you want to corner round your handles. Let me just grab my corner rounder, and I think I will do it on this, if I can find it. I know it's in here somewhere. There's that corner rounder. I think that's my corner rounder. Yep. I've got 2 of these. One's straight and one's corner. Let me just double check before I do. Yeah, that's a corner rounder. So before I do anything else, I'm going to pop that in there and just round off that corner and do the same on the other corner. Let's keep it nice and straight. And the same there. This one does give us a little bit of a point, but I'm okay with that. So that's that one done, and we'll do the same with this one as well while we've got the corner rounder to hand. Otherwise I'll put it down and I won't remember where I've put it. It'll vanish into thin air and I won't be able to find it again. There's one side, there's the other side. There we go. Okay, so get rid of the little bits of waste. So I'm going to put a bit of glue on that. I'm going to do the same on this one as well while I'm at it. Put a little bit of glue on there, enough to hold, and then I'm going to line it up so that I'm coming to the side of it. So I want to be this side of that dot and this side of that dot with my handle. So I'm just going to twist it a little bit like that, bring it in, and I want to just make sure I'm just covering it like that, because I could rub it out, I suppose, but I'd rather just cover it with my handle, and that way I'm not having to worry about coming back and having to use the rubber on here. So I'm going to hold it for a minute, grabbing some pegs so that'll hold it down for me nice and tight. That's that one, that's that one, so that just holds it nice and tight there. And I'm going to bring my bone folder in again, push that glue in, do the same on this side, push that glue into the paper, and then I've got my other one, so I'm going to do exactly the same with this one. I'm going to use what I've already done as my guide on this one, so I don't need to do those measurements again. So a bit of glue on each end, and then line up with that one that's already in place. So make sure I'm lining that up as carefully as I can, like that. Let's push the glue in and bring, and the same with this one, line that up nice and tight, and then I can lift it up and peg. So peg there and peg this. I'm using wet glue, so I've got a little bit of chance to maneuver if I need to, and even with the pegs in place I can still give it a little bit of a maneuver. Flip it over again, move my pegs out and push that in, and the same on this side, push that glue into the paper or the card, and that is our bag, our little bag, finished, apart from a little bit of decorating. So I've got myself some flowers, so let's move those out the way. I've got some flowers that I've made using some paper that's this paper is the same colour, same family of this paper, and I've used some green on the background as well, so I can do what I want. I could pop those on there, or I could I'm going to make a little down here, I think. So let's pop them on there, make a little on the corner of the bag. So that one I've got some little tiny ones as well, so I'm going to pop those, because they're all pink, I'm going to pop them on the white bits so that they get seen. I pop them on the pink bits, you won't see them. So there we go. I could, if I wanted, do lots of these and put them all in the middle, couldn't I? In fact, why didn't I think of that earlier? So there we go. That's the front of my bag done, and I may even do the back the same as well. And as you can see, there's lots of room inside, although not very wide, obviously, but there's lots of room inside. I could get a little Easter egg or a handful of Easter eggs in there, but certainly quite a few little treats. So there is my first one of this year done, and yeah, I'll be doing a few more, one each for all of the grandchildren. Anyway, I hope you liked it. I hope you give it a try. If you do, let me know. and tag me in it, either on YouTube or Instagram. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye for now.